All right, here we go with another video that got away. This is something I picked up at the Value Village at this point, like 2 months ago. I walked in there and it's weird. It's the only thrift store I've ever been in that'll occasionally have computers, and they come from all over the spectrum. I've seen, gosh, well, I wish there was a Spectrum in there, as if I don't already own two. It's a joke about the ZX Spectrum. Anyway, I walk in there, I find, let's see, I've seen like Alienware machines from many years ago. I've seen like like HP Media Center towers from like 2006. I've gone in there and seen gamer rigs, HTPCs. I think I went in there and saw like a fifth or sixth generation like i5 machine in a really small pink like mini ITX case, and they're fully loaded, like they're still intact. Sometimes they have hard drives. I don't even think they bother pulling them or wiping them, which is weird. I know Goodwill doesn't want to do that, so their policy is to just throw them all in the trash. Basically, they send them off to be pulverized. Except out on the East Coast, I think there's a few Goodwill computer stores, East Coast, Midwest, something like that, that sound like mythical places. A lot of people who live out there find some real treasures. But out here, all the thrift stores they just throw everything away if it's remotely computer-like, except for this one, Value Village, only one I've ever been to that will just put computers out on the shelf. They don't touch them, they don't do anything with them, they just put them out on the shelf. And you'd think that people would come in and just snatch all the hardware out of them, but for some reason they don't. It's weird. Like the case sides will be popped, but I've gone in there and seen a machine that was opened up, but the RAM was still there, and people always steal RAM no matter how old and completely worthless it is. The GPU was still in it. It had like a 760, something like that. That was still in there. The thing was still intact, and 2 days later I went back, and someone had apparently pulled the GPU because it was up at the front of the collectibles counter, but the rest of the machine was still there. It's just this weird alternate dimension. And so I went in there, and this thing was in there, and it caught my eye because if we look at the front here, obviously it's a PC, and it's an industrial one, you can tell, so I thought, oh, okay, that'll be a good little guy. It's not little, but it's still the same principle, right? It's an industrial machine. And the rule with that series is basically anything that was never sold at retail goes. Retail as in like, Newegg, etc. Everything on there's got to be something that you generally couldn't go to a website and just buy. Or you'd have to go to some like specialty supplier site, like the places that supply like security camera and digital signage and stuff like that. You'd have to go to one of those. You wouldn't get it on one of the normal, Amazon, that sort of place. And this thing definitely qualifies. And it looks ancient, right? Is it a CD burner, I think? Super Right Master. Yeah, that's all we got. No DVD logo, etc. So I'm guessing that's probably just a plain CDRW. And the general look of this thing, this case could be from 1992, yeah, no telling. It's beefy, it's very durable. And then around on the back, well, all right, we got a motherboard. It's definitely post AC97, so this isn't like a Pentium 1 or anything. We actually have, they left the, what is this? Is this a Logitech? Oh, there we go, HP. And what is this, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, something like that? That is a model DGR-FEO. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't care. It's some sort of RF transceiver. And then let's see. We've got, obviously, a micro ATX power supply, the sort you used to see, the 3-hole ones that you saw all the time in industrial machines and small form factor PCs back in the 2000s. So this thing's really dating itself, right? And then these cards over here, boy howdy, right? Look at this guy. Several pins. The general affect of the thing puts it in like the, AMD K5 era, something like that. And just generally speaking, the older you go with PCs, they tend to get more interesting, although anything that's got, that many USBs and AC97, 7.1 audio is very likely to be pretty dull inside, but still, hey, you never know. And then, given what these are, and of course, given the the label here on the serial port, it seems pretty clear this was being used to control a microscope of some kind, or some piece of, scientific equipment that included a microscope. My guess is this would be controlling like the microscope bed, the oh gosh, what do they call it, table? Oh, this is going to kill me. I'll put the word on the screen if I can remember what it is during editing. But it would control, the movement of a microscope. And then this says chem, probably some chemical analysis thing. I have no idea what LIS stands for. And then this says camera, so that's going to be like probably a digital interface to a special like machine vision camera. So yeah, there's no telling what's in here, right? And it might have the hard drive. Now, I mean, even if it did, it's probably not going to be very interesting, right? Because we don't have the microscope that goes with it. There's not going to be any pictures on here or anything like that. It's, you know, it would have been something that you'd take the pictures and then you'd write them out to a floppy disk. Or, well, that's probably what the CD burner is for, right? You know, you take pictures and you write them out to CD. That's assuming you do anything of the sort, right? It's entirely possible that this thing was just nothing more than a controller. It didn't capture any images, didn't do anything. Well, as it turns out, it's even more boring than that. So we get in here, and it turns out it's actually fairly modern. It's, gosh, I think I concluded this was an AMD 64-bit machine, because I think the hallmarks of like an Athlon 64 chip, something like that. It's also, you know, it's got PCI Express, and I think this is at least DDR2. Let's see if we can... Nah, that's really hard to get out of there. It's new enough that it doesn't have any blown caps. You know, it's past that point in time. Where the hell is the model number on this board? Hello? Sir? You know, it's probably faster to just plug it in. Let's just plug it in. It's probably going to work perfectly. Of course, the hard drive's gone, you know, so there isn't any interesting software on it, nothing like that. We'll take a peek at these cards, but I couldn't identify any of them the last time I tried, and even if I could, there's nothing you can do with them. They're exclusively for use with one proprietary piece of equipment. The case isn't interesting, nothing. So this whole thing's kind of a wet fart, but I don't know. I thought you might be interested in it, so I figured I would take a video of it before I threw it away. I mean, not throw it away. I'm going to take it back to the re-PC, and somebody will buy it, and they'll put something interesting in this case, I'm sure. You know, it's a perfectly functional case. It's cromulent. It's just nothing worth writing home about. Sorry, by the way, if I sound bummed out. I'm not really. It's just been a bit of a long day. By the way, this keyboard here, I got this from a guy in a parking lot. He was about to take it into a store and throw it away, and I was just like, hey, man, if you don't want that, I'll take it, because it's beautiful. It turns out, unsurprisingly, it is literally a Microsoft Internet keyboard, just with a paint job. And I have to wonder, oh yeah, actually, you can see it flaking off right there. So I think this was made at a point when Alienware was so small, you know, pre-Dell acquisition, that I think they were just buying these and having some employee hang them up and just hit them with a spray can. I should mention, I haven't actually tried turning this thing on, so for all we know, could go pop bang. Whoa. Yeah. Well, that was quite a noise. Whoa! Wow, those fans are going! Good Lord Almighty! Is that these guys back here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are cooking! Man, is there... I wonder if there's any speed control on those whatsoever. Probably not. Can you even hear me at this point? I have no idea. They are all tied up back there, but it looks to me like they might be hooked. Yeah, I think they might be hooked straight into power. So I don't think there's any way to turn those down or turn them off. But we can get all the info we need if we just restart here. Take a quick look at the BIOS post screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's a... That's decent. It's a Pentium 4 3.4 with 2 gigs of RAM. Yeah, DDR2, which... So that'd be a socket 775 then, right? Because I don't think they did DDR1 on the... was it socket 754? Oh, geez, it's been so long. I can't remember the the little Pentium 4 socket. But anyway, it's a real late model Pentium 4. It's got EM64T. I think that's the sort of ersatz 64-bit support. Hyper-threading, etc. But yeah, this is a completely boring machine from 2010. Not a word to say about that. Also, I heard the CD-ROM drawer clunk as soon as I turned it on, and that pretty much tells us that somebody manually ejected it with the power off in order to get a CD out of there. So yeah, when this thing was getting stripped, somebody actually bothered to check for a disc, which was a good call because it is amazing how often people get rid of computers that have CDs in them with some real interesting stuff on them. Let me unplug this thing. There we go. Now you can hear me. I actually did, at one point in time, many years ago, get a hold of a machine that was used for controlling an X-ray machine, and it had someone's X-rays on it, just straight up like pictures of their their belly, I think. Maybe it was a CT machine now that I think about it. And it was a burned disc in the CD-ROM, so whoops, somebody didn't get their little envelope. Just be sure, though, let's spin this guy around and check the drive, because maybe they were trying to eject it and failed. Not that I like pawing through people's personal effects per se, but you just never know what you're going to find. What do we got? Not a ding-dang thing. Heavens to Murgatroyd. I'll tell you, actually, this is a computer that you're going to see in a quick start episode at some point. It's HP DV1000. When I got it, there was a disk in the drive, and this was that disk, and it looks incredibly boring. I mean, it is incredibly boring, but there was one fun thing going on with it. Check this out. Use of this product is subject to the acceptance of the Cybertruck Evaluation or Distribution License Agreement. Cybertruck and Finepoint are trademarks of Finepoint Technologies. Really? Cybertruck, huh? Copyright 2001. Elon Musk was, well, let's not talk about Elon Musk. I imagine he didn't actually check whether that trademark was active before using it, but even if he had, it probably isn't, because apparently Cybertruck was part of a, well, it was a suite of technologies from this Finepoint Technologies, and one of the features of it, the one that's probably on here, is it's supposed to, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but if I got it correctly, what you do with this is you put it in your PC, you run this program, and it dials up to an ISP, or I guess maybe directly to Finepoint, I'm not sure, but it dials up with a normal V.34 modem. And somehow, using the V.34 signal, it's able to like tone out the line and find out whether you'd be able to support DSL on that particular phone line. Because, you know, DSL service doesn't work if you've got various filters on the line, or amplifiers or load coils, anything like that. And a lot of people had trouble getting DSL back in the early 2000s because of problems like that. So I guess they were able to figure out how to detect those using an ordinary consumer V34 modem at the user end, and then I guess some piece of test gear at the ISP end. No idea how that worked. I'm guessing that after 1 or 2 years, this probably became irrelevant. I've certainly never heard of it. The company's virtually impossible to look up, and you can imagine Cybertruck is very hard to Google. But I don't think it lasted very long. If I had not found this in that DV1000, and if I had not rescued that DV1000 from the garbage, then probably nobody would know that this product ever existed other than people who actually used it at the time, because it's totally undocumented online. Just weird little things you find. Now, speaking of weird little things, what do we got for cards here? Because I took a peek at them, but I haven't pulled them out yet. They look pretty strange. I don't think I'll be able to determine very much. Let's get them out of here, though. This one in this slot here is interesting because it's got what appears to be a stiffening bar on it. That's interesting. It's a little bent sheet steel bar. That is really, oh boy, howdy. That is nuclear. All right, so that's the comparison. All right, that's 2-3 times the thickness of a typical PCI bracket or anything else you'd find in a PC. PCs are pretty much all made out of the same gauge of steel, no matter when they're made. But this, on the other hand, this, wow. All right, I'm typically able to bend anything I find inside a computer, but this, that is nuclear. That is absolutely going to survive the end of the world. Man, that is a heavy piece of metal. Like it wouldn't be that tough except that they bent it over, but they did bend it over. And then it's got this guy on here, and that is a very high density plastic. I'm not sure what that is. But, okay, it was injection molded. I see a mark there. I was thinking at first it might have been machined. Might be like Delrin or something, but it looks like it's just injection molded. But, boy, that is really heavy stuff. Whatever that is, very dense. And then they got they actually have a pressed-in screw thread for this thing to screw into. So that is like a weirdly overbuilt stiffening bar for this card. What the hell is this thing? Yoink. Okay, what do we got? So it's an Image Nation from Cyber Optics. I saw that before. I tried looking it up. I didn't see anything, but we'll take another peek here in a second. This is interesting. What? Whoa. What's going on there? You seeing this? On this chip here? You know, I know that's not an EEPROM. I'm sure that's not covering up a window or anything. That's really, really strange. They've got this blob of epoxy looking stuff on here that seems to have numbers printed on it. It's like, you know, that's how they decided to renumber that chip. Because you know that a lot of manufacturers of weird bespoke crap, they'll etch the top of a chip off and then put their own identifier on there. It looks like this company did that, but for some reason, they went a little bit further. Does that stuff want to chip off? I mean, the crap out here does. That comes off pretty easy, but I don't care about this card, whatever the hell it is. So I'm just going to check. Will that... Oh, okay. Yeah. I could crack all that off if I wanted to. It's not going to tell us anything, so I'm not going to bother. But it's not too robust. It looks like they did the same thing here, except in that case, we can see quite clearly that is a Xilinx. Now, I don't know if that means it's an FPGA necessarily. Can't remember if Xilinx makes other things. Could be a PAL. Who knows what. But, yeah. Okay, there's that. And then we've got the Rose compliant sticker here. PXD1000. I'm feeling like that's probably the name of the whole card. I don't otherwise see a model number on this thing. Let's ask the internet. Okay, yeah. So, as I figured, that is a digital frame grabber. See if we can get some specs here. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's the kind of website I expect to see this on. That's the kind of screenshot I expect to see. This thing was probably made back in the Windows 98 days, 95 days, and they just continued selling it. It probably was not originally Rose compliant, because I don't think Rose existed when this thing was created. But let's see. Oh, okay, so it appears to be a low-cost version of whatever the hell this is. Its performance rivals that of costlier digital PCI frame grabbers while maintaining exceptional ease of use. Oh, here we go. Image capture area up to, 32,000 by 32,000 pixels. Line scan camera image capture up to 32K in width. So I guess that's for CCD imagers that are just a single one-dimensional line. Built-in 4 megs. FIFO, yeah, that's going to be these Oki chips here. I don't even need to look those up. That's going to be a meg of RAM each. Programmable debounced trigger. Okay, so you can feed a signal into this to tell it, all right, take a picture now. Programmable horizontal and vertical synchronization. Works with resettable and interlaced cameras. I don't know anything about this technology, so I don't know what the interface would be. There must be some universal interface for, I think this is saying it's, yeah, digital frame grabber. So this is for talking not to like composite or anything like that, but cameras that speak some digital format. I don't know what that would be. Apparently it's got 4 GPIOs. It's got several RS422 outputs. So you could use this to control your camera. You don't need a separate control card for that. Wow, built-in LUTs. You can have the thing do color space conversion on the go. That's cool. On-the-fly hardware pixel reordering for multi-channel cameras. Oh, okay. So if you've got a... Damned if I know. You can read that if you're interested in it. But you get the idea, right? It's got the ability for you to say, look, the pixels don't come out of the camera in a perfectly linear fashion, and remap them automatically, so you don't have to do it in post. And there we go. Supports external strobes and triggers for external equipment, so you can have this thing. It's the whole enchilada. Does everything at once. And yep, there we go. 9598 ME NT 2000. So yeah, this card's got some years on it. Camera connector. Single connector, 100 pins. That's all the info you get. Good luck. Oh, apparently it can actually power the camera, though. Spits out 12 volts, 800 milliamps, and 5 volts, 800 milliamps. Oh, and it supports DOS 4GW. Oh, man, that is an ancient piece of hardware. Utterly useless to pretty much everyone now. Let's see what else we got in here, because there's another one of these stiffening bars on whatever this card is. This is interesting. This thing was built like it's going to go into a like an aircraft carrier. This is kind of ridiculous. We got that's another custom little job. Oh, but you know what? That was not injection molded. That was machined. I can see saw cut lines on the edges of this plastic. Looks like a different plastic than the other one. Got some flash on the end from the cutting operation too. It's a bit cruder, but it works. And again, yeah, no, that's not happening. What are we protecting here? By the way, I have no idea why that other card needed that that nuclear grade stiffening bar, unless this thing was going into some sort of high vibration environment. Or maybe the company that built these things just decided that they didn't want to guess, right? They just built them all to mill spec just in case they were going somewhere with high vibration. All right, here we have a SIG Cyber Pro. Yeah, I got nothing. Let's look that up. I guess it's possible that it's simply a serial card. That's sort of what it's feeling like to me. Yeah, serial card. Okay. I guess the machine just needed more serial ports. All right, no big deal. And I think that's it. I think that's all that was in there. Wait a minute. No, there's... Oh, I see. Okay. That one remaining connector is just another serial port. So you can see they've got a flying cable going off here. Most motherboards at this point in time, I think, still had two serial ports. They had the one that's mounted to the I/O shield, and there's another one available off a header on the board. So that's what they did. Sorry, I just realized my camera was out of focus, but you probably got the gist of it. Additionally, this is broken, which is interesting. Look at that. It's just coming right off, and I can't see any trauma to the thing. So that's fun. Maybe someone broke it when they were in here, working on it. But part of me wonders if maybe this was in some kind of high vibration environment. Even then, I don't know if that would cause that. But all right, yeah. So incredibly boring. We've got a Pentium 4 with an incredibly beefy cooler on it for what it is. I mean, it was a P4 3.4 that probably did get pretty hot. You know what? I'm curious. What's the TDP on that? Might be north of 85 watts. Oh yeah. That's a 103 watt chip that they got in there. So, all right, yeah, maybe the cooler's not ridiculous, and you would need, fans to get that heat out of there right quick. I guess it makes sense. This thing's fairly compact, so those fans would have to be pretty fast in order to fit into the space and still get a decent amount of airflow. And this thing definitely needed a decent amount of airflow. So, yeah, other than that, incredibly boring machine. Now I can go give it to someone else, or it'll get put out to pasture. But it'll be out of my life. Thank God. Thanks for watching.